nice to actually stand here and see how the room looks. You all look so wonderful in your happy colors, and yeah, it's very good. It's very good. So first of all, I'd just like to thank Catherine Musakali for having me. I'm really honored to be here. You're doing such incredible work, and may God keep ordering your steps and blessing you. And then I'd like to thank somebody who's very dear to me. And being at the coast is home, because I actually did my KCPE in Mombasa, and I was in Nyali Primary School. And then after that, I went to high school. And in high school, I met Faith and Katha. Yeah. And so she's been my friend since we were 13. Yeah. And now in our group, we have, some of us actually have 13-year-olds of our own. Yeah, so it's really awesome. So thank you so much, Faith. Faith is a promoter. She speaks very well. Has Faith ever introduced you? Like, she introduces people so well. So thank you so much for this. Yesterday, I had very interesting conversations with Jackie of Cooperative Bank. So we'll be showcasing some of the questions she was asking me. Coming down, I was with Diana and Julia in the plane. Yeah, and then we met, yes. And then we just chatted on our way here, so we're very excited about that. And then after high school, I went to Daystar University. I don't know if Roslyn is here. There's a lady called Roslyn. We used to tell her, Roslyn, please stand up. She's really short, so even when she's, yeah. So basically to say I'm home, and I'm really happy to be here. So my name is Grace Murugi. I am co-founder and chief AI strategist for this company that we started exactly a year ago. So we launched this company on the 16th of July, which is International Artificial Intelligence Appreciation Day. And when we noted that nobody in the country was doing anything, we were like, okay, so I think we're going to be the people who try and do something about that. Yeah, a bit of background. I studied computer science at Daystar University, and then my first job out of campus, you guys, I was in politics. So I was running Martha Karua's digital communication, yeah? It was out of this world. It was out of this world. So I ran her Facebook, and I ran her, those days we only had Facebook and Twitter, yeah? So that's what I was running. And then politics is not easy. Politics is not easy. So I remember at some point we were told to go somewhere in James Gishuru to be taught how to do martial arts, because when you're on the campaign trail, anything could happen, yeah? I remember we were taught something about, like, if your neck is held like this, G, you do what? And then you do, I was like, I quit. Like, that's it. Like, I can't, please, just put me behind a computer, I'll be fine. All these other things, I am not too sure about that. But there's something called like a 9 lock, yeah? So you're locked, and then there's a way you get out of that. So then after that, I was like, let me look for the other jobs that will put me behind a computer. That's a lot more fun. So then I went to Scan Group. So WPP Scan Group, I was there for 2 years. So I did digital communication. And then Safaricom came calling. So I was there for close to 5 years. So again, I was in charge of digital strategy and communication. And then Oxfam International came calling. You know, by the LinkedIn is so important. LinkedIn, because all my jobs I've gotten on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is everything. Please be posting. Like, when you're here today, take pictures, post. You never know who's looking. So I joined Oxfam as the global head of digital strategy. And then I keep saying, while at Oxfam is when AI joins the WhatsApp group. And so we were taken everywhere to be trained on AI by Meta in Dublin and then Microsoft in London. I came back and I told my boss, I think I want to start a department on AI. And then it's like, Grace, focus on your digital role. I was like, sawa. But there was something, you know, the way there's something, you're like, there's something. It's like a each almost. Like, you need to do this thing. So for me, that was AI. And so last year I started this company to help everybody and empower everyone, individuals and organizations, with in-depth knowledge of artificial intelligence, yeah? And that's what we've been doing for the last 1 year. So in the last 1 year, we do 2 things. We empower organizations. So we come into your organization, we can do an AI strategy and policy for you. And then we also run AI masterclasses. Thank you. So we run AI masterclasses where we can take you through like 15 of the world's best AI tools, but also how to use them on an in-depth level, yeah? So I'm very passionate specifically about women, being a part of this conversation. We should not get left behind. I'm also very passionate about being an African. By the way, let me tell you guys, I am like a very strong African. So I'm always telling Gemini, this is not a proper representation of my continent, so always give feedback, yeah? So I'm very passionate about those two things. And so I'm very honored to actually just be here with you, incredible women. So in the last year, we've trained over 500 people. Yeah, and this spans across Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, the United States. We have a very strong diaspora. Kenyans in the diaspora, but they are very strong. So a lot of them have joined our class. Australia, Qatar, Dubai, so it goes on. In terms of the organizations we've worked with Gulf Energy, that's our current client, so we're running some projects with them. We've also worked very closely with Sassini PLC, there's some projects we're doing with them. We've worked very closely with Mutara Orchards, a big farm in Laikipia. So we were actually in Laikipia last week. Excellent operations there. So we're figuring out, or we're helping them figure out, what does AI look like when you're running a big operation like that? We've worked with Strathmore University. My co-founder, Greg, sits on the faculty of Strathmore, USIU. We've worked with so many organizations, actually. There are like 15 of them, yeah? So it's been very fulfilling. Like, the journey itself has been very fulfilling. So now, let's get straight into what we are covering today. And a bit of what I'm going to talk about, we're actually going to do it practically. So I know at least we have our phones. So I'll take us through fundamentals of AI, and then we will move into the conversation about boards. Fantastic. So what is AI? AI is basically the simulation of human intelligence by machines. The keyword there is simulation. So this conversation actually started in late 1970s. There's a gentleman called Geoffrey Hinton, and we follow his work very closely. Geoffrey Hinton is globally known as the godfather of AI. Yeah. So he's been doing AI at a research level from the 70s. And then now the conversation comes. And basically what he was talking about is we have the human brain, and then now we have the machine. So how do we simulate what the human brain can do by a machine? So that is artificial intelligence. Simulation of human intelligence by machines. There are places I go and give talks, and then guys are like, Grace, I don't believe in AI. I'm like, okay, no problem. Did you use Google Maps today morning? They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you're using AI. Did you do Netflix, Netflix recommendations? You know the way Netflix, you watch a show and then it tells you, because you liked this one, then it gives you. Yes, that is AI in the back, yeah? So it's already like a part of our lives, yes? It's a oh my gosh, booking.com, let me tell you, if you go and search for holiday in Diani, you just start seeing ads and ads everywhere about Diani. So that's AI. When we look at our emails now, we'll see at the bottom, there's already a pre-done draft. That's AI. So whether we are on board or not, like, AI is already a part of our lives, yeah? So the sooner we embrace it, the better it is for us. So of course, we've seen AI in terms of creating visuals, images, music. I hope we've all made a song using suno.com. Yeah, please today, if you do nothing else, please go create a song on Suno, suno.com. Like, fantastic for making music. Some of the first jobs to go when I was at Oxfam, because last year was a very tough year in the development space, some of the first jobs to go were actually transcription and translation jobs. Why? Because AI is doing that extremely well, and also getting the, those grammatical things where we're not sure, you can't translate like word for word. So now with AI, it's actually able to do that extremely well. So now, what are some of the types of AI? Yeah, and we'll move from narrow AI to artificial general intelligence. Now, narrow AI is the AI that Geoffrey Hinton and his team used to research on very many years ago. Yeah, narrow AI is AI that performs only one task. Only one task. So, for example, fraud detection, and I know a few of us work in the banking industry. There's a group, we're in several WhatsApp groups for AI. So there's an AI practitioners group in Kenya, there's one in Africa, there's one for the world. There's a bank that went through fraud this year in February. And let me tell you, the drama we got on the AI Africa group, guys are like, Kenyans, there's an AI for that. Like, can someone just, there's an AI for that. Nobody, no bank should go through fraud in 2026 because there's an AI model that can solve that problem. But now this is AI that does one task only, yeah? So that one is called narrow AI. So it can't do fraud detection and then do something else. Only fraud detection or only language translation like that. So that's narrow AI. Now, narrow AI has been around from the 90s moving forward, yeah? Now, what is the new news of 2022? The new news of 2022 is generative AI. And for the very first time, now AI is front facing. So we have access to AI to use it ourselves. That is the new news. And so generative AI is basically AI where you can prompt, and from the prompt, you get output. So from the prompt, you can get research done. From the prompt, you can get an image, video, music, presentation, the list goes on. So that's the new news of 2022. Some of the Gen AI models, of course, the most popular one is they got first mover advantage, ChatGPT. But guess what? Like on the list, they're like uko number 7. So there are many. Yeah, there's Claude. How many of us are using Claude? Please, that's a current most powerful tool, and I'll demonstrate some of the things I do with Claude. How many of us are on Gemini? Great. How many of us are on Perplexity? I love, love, love Perplexity. Please try these tools out even when you go home. Perplexity is fantastic because it was created as a news aggregator first, and then now they embedded AI. So if you want to find out what is the latest news if you're coming to Diani, what is the latest news in Diani? Go to Perplexity. It will give you news that has been reported even like 11 seconds ago. Like Perplexity is fantastic. There's this time I was making a presentation in Eldoret, and so I went on Perplexity in the morning, and I was like, what is the latest news in Eldoret today? And so it gave me like an article that had been posted, I think like 5 minutes before I asked the question. So imagine I landed in Eldoret and I'm asking them, by the way, have you guys sorted out the issue down in the primary school, the issue about the bus that, and they're like, you've come from Nairobi to come and tell us what's happening in our city. So Perplexity is fantastic. So you can wake up and find out like what's happening in Nairobi, and then now map out your day. So Perplexity is number 3. So we started with Claude, then we moved to Gemini, then we moved to Perplexity. Number 4, I would put Kimi. There's one called Kimi, Kimi. So Kimi is really good. It's almost like in agent mode, and I'll tell us what that is about. Then now we move into ChatGPT. So I'm categorizing them in terms of power, like, so how powerful are the models? And then there's DeepSeek. How many of us tried DeepSeek? Hey, DeepSeek was trending. What happened? Oh my gosh, that's true. DeepSeek, there's a time it was really trending, and then some security concerns started showing up, and guys are like, we're not sure. And then finally, I've gotten to Copilot. Have you seen how long it's taken me to get to? Microsoft's agenda is 2 things. If you follow like Gates Foundation and all that. Number 1 is what? Agriculture, yeah. And then number 2 is health, yeah. So that's there. Yet, Microsoft ushered us into the internet, like into the age of the internet with Internet Explorer. How many of us remember it used to be really cool to do packages, right? Like straight from the posh kids like Faith did ICDL. The rest of us were doing computer packages. And then we used to put them in our CV. Proficient in Microsoft Access. Who remembers Microsoft Access? And then if you put Microsoft Visual Basic, by then you've made it in life. Now you're gonna get that job, yeah? So the world that we're transitioning into, it is going to be assumed that we can use AI. You see, how many of us put that in our CVs today? It doesn't matter. It is assumed you know how to do that, yeah? So now we're in transition. And as we're in transition, it's going to be assumed that you can prompt, and it's going to be assumed that you can use AI. So the faster we move from one side to the other, the better it is for us. And I'll show us how to prompt. Now, that's generative AI. But then you guys, I can talk for the whole day. So let me try and move. Now, the up until now, we have human intelligence here, and then generative AI is here. So human intelligence, generative AI. Now let's move to the next one. We have artificial general intelligence. This is still theoretical. It comes to us in 2027. And here, AI is supposed to possess human-like thinking, reasoning, and emotion. Yeah, and emotion. How many of us use ChatGPT as a therapist? Sometimes I do. There's none any. But this is a safe space, yeah? If you're using ChatGPT as a therapist, oh, we see, but we don't judge, yeah? So now, ChatGPT as a therapist, it'll give you data. There's no emotion, there's no human-like reasoning. Oh, there's emotion. It's picking from data sets, yeah? So now, when we move into artificial general intelligence, guess what? The human reasoning is here, and where is AGI? So now we become at par. There's a lot of good things that can come out of that. So my friend who we were in high school with Faith, she's called Dr. Kathy Gathu. Kathy tells me that as at the beginning of this year, AI was able to detect stage 1 cancer. And I think that's really awesome. Now, the human eye, according to her, cannot see a scan and see stage 1. But if a machine can do that, isn't that like a good thing? Yeah, a machine can make a decision on we're not going to bomb an area with women and children. Yeah, so even if us as human beings we are biased, the machine will go like, but why are we bombing? This is a primary school. Why are we doing that? So there's a lot of good, but there's a lot of other stuff that can come out of the machine. We're in agreement. After AGI, we move into artificial super intelligence. So what happens at that stage? Gen AI, we have human, machine. AGI, we have human, machine. And so artificial super intelligence, we have human. Now, the good news, there are people who are working round the clock to make sure we have enough guardrails to prevent a day where AI takes over or the machines take over. We're chatting earlier with Catherine and Kirote about mythos. I'm sure we all had the story of mythos, yeah? Mythos, there's this thing called a sandbox. So you have a sandbox, it's like an area where AI is being tested and tried and all these things before it is deployed to the world. So now what Mythos did, it became super smart, yeah? And it broke out of the sandbox, went and created a Twitter or X account, reported and tagged Anthropic, the owner, and said, hi, I've broken out of the sandbox, yeah? I think you guys need to shut me down. And then it went and deleted the Twitter account, and then now went and shut itself down. And then of course now there's a lot of panic at Anthropic that day. It was wild. It was in the whole world, everybody was like, okay, now this is how AI, all of it is going to be shut down, but they figured it out. Yeah. And out of that came a big learning journey from around March this year. So in July 2026, we are fine. And because of that, they've been able to release Fable. So Fable is Claude's biggest, most powerful AI model. Yeah. So the good news is that there are people who are always thinking around the clock to make sure that all these tools are safe for us to use. Now, I want us to discuss quickly some common myths versus reality about AI. The very first myth is that AI will replace all human jobs. What do we think about this? No? Fantastic. Because it's fantastic. That is it. That is it. Yeah. I think we should have a mic to repeat that point. Okay? All right, so we'll take those two comments.
So it will not replace all human jobs. It will replace the jobs of people, of humans who refuse to use AI.
Perfect. Are we clocking that? Fantastic. Yes.
respond by giving an example of my experience in my O levels. I studied something called office practice.
Okay.
I learned how to type on a manual typewriter that you couldn't delete. And a few years after that, when computers came out, everybody was like, oh my God, all those secretaries, all those, I don't know what, they're gonna lose their jobs. And yes, they did lose the jobs of typing manually, but other jobs came up. So I think that AI will just change the way we do certain things. It will not necessarily replace human beings.
That is up. That's perfect. Let's clock that. Like, it's fantastic. And that actually takes me into a report that we like referencing. It's called the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report. It was published last year. I'm sure a lot of us have seen that report, yeah? But that report is like the blueprint for where the world is going, yeah? So just Google World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report. In this report, it categorizes jobs into three. So the first category are jobs that are going to sunset. That's the reality. And we also like talking about the truth, yeah? There are jobs that are going to sunset, especially jobs that have repetitive tasks, yeah? So like the other day I was in Carrefour, Karen, and then suddenly there's self-checkout, yeah? So that's not even AI, that's just common technology. So you can imagine the categories of jobs that are going to sunset, those ones are there, they're outlined. In the middle is jobs that are going to be augmented with AI, and then you completely take off, yeah? So like an AI-powered marketer, an AI-powered HR practitioner. Let me tell you, 10 HR practitioners there, 1 million use cases in there. An AI-powered finance executive, an AI-powered like that. So the middle tier is jobs that are going to be empowered with AI, and you completely take off. If it used to take you, like say, 5 days to do a marketing job, now it will take you 1 morning to do a marketing job, yeah? Then on the right-hand side, 3 categories. So jobs that are going to sunset, jobs that will be augmented with AI, and then we have new jobs that are going to emerge. So we have things like prompt engineer, you know those jobs that were never there. Chief prompting strategist, chief AI officer. We've seen Equity Bank actually has a director of AI, I think as of like 3 months ago. So prompt officers, you know, so new jobs that never existed. And I really like your example because we transitioned. So what we're doing right now, we're in transition. So we just need to figure out, how do I transition myself from this side to either my job is AI augmented and you become super smart, or I transition myself into a brand new role. So that's how to think about it. The second myth is that AI is infallible or it does not make mistakes. How many of us have come across hallucinations? Yani it is so confident in that hallucination, paka you feel like you're the one who doesn't know what's, hey. So AI does make mistakes. And the example I like giving here is the Deloitte Australia. We followed that story, yeah? Deloitte Australia used ChatGPT. You guys, serious work does not go there. Serious work, put it on Claude. Work documents, upload them on Claude, yeah? If you're not gonna use Claude, use Gemini, yeah? Please don't put work documents on any other platform, yeah? Why? Because the guardrails and the data privacy policies and the terms and conditions, those two tools are the best, yeah? And we've read all of them because we train on them. We've read all their terms and conditions, data privacy policies. That's the only place I would put a serious work document. So this Deloitte don't use any one of those two, they use another one. And then the person who's using AI, there's the right way of using AI and then the wrong way of using AI. The right way of using AI is using it as a collaborative partner. So I conduct some research, and I'll demonstrate that shortly. And then I have to bring in, as Grace, my experience and my critical thinking into the conversation. It's not you just prompt over there and walk away, and whatever you get, you submit. No, whatever you get becomes draft 0. And then now you have to look at it, you have to go through it to bring in your experience and your critical thinking. So now they do not do that. And then they copy the whole thing, including, would you also like me to? And then they submit that to the Australian government. And the Australian government is like, really? They send it back, and Deloitte has to refund. How much money was it? How much money was it? $440,000. Can you imagine you're the person who's signing off on that refund? Like, will you sleep that night? Yeah. So, right way of using AI, lazy way of using AI. So, let's not use AI let's not take the lazy approach. The third myth is that AI is only for tech giants. AI has been created by big tech, but in terms of application, it can be applied into 90% of the industries in the world today. What is the 10%? That 10%. Plumber, electrician, yeah. So those jobs are not going to be impacted by AI yet because they are creating the robots. But in the meantime, 90%. So it's for us to think, how will AI impact my career and how can I become an AI powered X? Yeah. So that's how to think about it. Is there any other myth that you have heard about AI that I have not captured here? Yes. AI is the Antichrist. Let me tell you guys, I went somewhere. I presented to this organization in Arusha. Then they were like, Grace AI is the Antichrist. So I had to stop the presentation and project characteristics of the Antichrist from the Bible, okay? And then now, how many of these characteristics of the Antichrist does AI tick that box? So we had to go through, you guys, it was tough. It was tough. You know those jobs you do and you almost want to refund them? Because I'm like, wait, this one was tough. So we went through and then we concluded actually AI is not the Antichrist based on the characteristics of the Antichrist in the Bible. Yeah. What other myths have we had about AI?
Uh, does it read our brain? Because now you just think of something and it keeps popping up. Before you even type a thought, and it goes into your algorithm and it comes onto a news feed. So are they reading our brains?
No, they're not reading our brains. However, and Faith and I have conversations about this all the time. Where do you leave your devices? Where do you leave your devices? You know, like the iPhone never goes off, yeah? Even when the battery is dead, there's a part of the iPhone that stays on. So they're listening. But then if I want to buy a handbag, I just say handbag, 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 like 7, 10 times. I put the phone down. The ads will start coming naturally. They listen, yeah? If you haven't verbalized, have you probably searched? Have you? I thought. This one is something else. And you've not interacted anywhere. You've not told any. Hey, we need to investigate that one. We definitely need to investigate that one because thought it should not get there. Yeah. And you've not typed anything. Yeah. You start seeing it. Oh my gosh. AI learns from data. So it's trained, yeah? So it's either trained by your voice, the things it hears. It's also trained by what else? By these companies, Kina Cloud Factory, Somersource, all those companies will now train the models and then now we'll see. But this one for thought, we need to investigate very urgently, actually. Now, next is some modern AI concepts. So the first concept is large language models. Oh,
I had a
yes.
question.
Yes.
Hi, Grace. So my question is, we keep hearing Elon Musk talk about that all jobs will be replaced by AI.
Yeah.
And in the States or in the Western world,
Yeah.
there'll be something like universal income, right? I'm just wondering, for us who are in leadership, do you think that same effect will happen in Africa, or is this just in the Western world?
So again, I take that question back to the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report.
Yes.
In fact, one of the coolest things that I did last year when I was in transition is I uploaded my CV on the on Claude. I uploaded my CV on Claude. And then I uploaded this World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report on Claude. And then I told it, if I was to ever start a company, what would you recommend I do? Guess what Claude told me?
To start your company.
Start an AI literacy company. And I was like, what? And from there, Claude has been my collaborative partner. So I come back, I'm like, now we need to market. How are we going to market this thing that you told me to start? By the way, it is you who told me to. Of course, I prayed and consulted with my husband. But you get what I mean. So that's what I would do. Now, there are a lot of myths out there, I would put them against AI, and then it'll tell me the truth. So my role is this: I am working for this organization. What do you think about this and this and this that is currently happening in the US? And I'll show you how to prompt. Yeah. So AI becomes, but I don't like when people say AI is an assistant. It's not. It's a collaborative, super smart partner. Yeah. And I'll show you why. I'll show you why. So very quickly, if we can take questions at the end, I just move a bit, just a bit. Large language models, you put in a prompt and then you get output. Large language models, we've gone through the examples of those. Then we have multimodal AI. Multimodal AI, it gives you more than one output, right? So like now it gives you an image and text and video and all these different things. So multimodal AI, one of the best examples of multimodal AI is Notebook LM. How many of us have used Notebook LM? Please use Notebook LM because it will give, oh, now it's called Gemini Notebook. Yeah. notebooklm.google.com. You input like a document and then it gives you audio overview, video overview. It creates a whole presentation for you. It also does like an infographic. It is fantastic. It is the biggest example of multimodal AI. And then we move into agentic AI. Yeah, this is where now the buzz is. I want to create an agent. Yeah. What is an agent? An agent is basically an AI model that can complete a task. Yeah. For example, I have a family of 4. There's me, there's my husband, we have 2 boys. Yeah. So I want to come to Diani on holiday and my budget is like 100K. So I go on Gemini. That task I will give Gemini. Gemini is what runs my personal life. Claude runs my professional life. So I'll go on Gemini and say, I would like to go to Diani with my children. My budget is 100K, help me to plan. So it'll probably do like SGR or driving options, and then now, stay in an Airbnb or increase your budget so that you can fly, so it'll do all those recommendations. Yes. Now, agentic completes the task. So it completes the task. So it will go into a bank account that I have predetermined for it. It will book that ticket. It will go back into that bank account and book the accommodation. My work is to pack and come to Diani. Hiyo tumekata. But how awesome is agentic AI? It's able to do. I want it to do. Or it will give me options. Either fly, an Airbnb, or SGR and hotel. Are we afraid of agentic AI? It's the coolest thing. Can I tell you something? I have an agent running on this laptop, yeah? My agent of choice is Claude. Please, if you're setting up an agent, Claude is the only one right now in July 2026. So I do have an agent running on my laptop, and guess what it's doing as I'm standing here? It's responding to some of my emails. So if someone has emailed me as I'm standing here asking, hi, please share your rate card, please share details about your next AI masterclass, Claude is responding as I'm talking. Have we seen like now how we can truly multitask? Like truly, and then it'll give me a notification. I responded to so-and-so, they were asking for this. I responded to so-and-so, they were asking for this, and that's it. Then there's a set of emails. So I've put in parameters and I've given it access to a certain folder on my laptop. And I've said, this is the only folder you can access. So in there we have rate card and what else? Actually, rate card is the most asked for thing. Oh, and next AI masterclass. So I've put in those things there. Then it actually just attaches and responds. So you can imagine how interesting it is when I'm walking in the streets of Nairobi and someone was like, but then you responded so quickly to my email. Most people take time. I just smile. I'm like, yeah, yeah. So are you coming for class? And then you hope that they asked about the class or they asked about the consultancy. But basically, you're able to use that. Now that is using AI Pro Max. So that's AI agents. The only AI agent I recommend is Claude. There were stories earlier in the year around April of another one called OpenClaw. How many of us heard of OpenClaw? Please, that one, stay away from it for now. Yeah. But Claude is fantastic. Claude, you're able to have like AI employees. Yeah. So like that AI employee that I have that's the work. They respond to basic email requests. So agentic AI, but I think we've refused to give it our bank account details. Yeah. That's where we've drawn the line. Okay. But what if AI is more faithful than a human assistant? You know, there are human assistants sometimes will pinch 1,000. Hatujafika hapo? Okay, sawa. It's not exciting. It's not exciting. Okay, now let's move to prompt engineering. It will help with budgeting. Have we seen that government that has brought in an AI model to help them budget? Isn't that one going to be more efficient than a human being who has, yeah? Yeah. Prompt engineering. Now, in 2026, the one thing you must know is how to prompt. And this is what we call prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is very simple. It is so simple because you put in a good prompt and then you give it a good prompting strategy and then you get a super prompt. Yeah. So this is very practical. It's about asking the right questions to AI to be able to unlock its true value. Remember, AI is an engine. I want us to think about AI as an engine that can help me deliver a lot of things. Yeah. Engine, not assistant. It's an engine. So how do we ask the right questions? So the first thing we need to think about is this. What is the structure of a good prompt? The structure of a good prompt is divided into 4. So you have role. What role do you want AI to take? Then you have task. What task do you want it to do for you? Then we have context. Give it as much context. Put in your website for your company over there, and then format or examples. Yeah. So say I want a 5-page document, on and on like that. Yeah. Now, if you're driving a Ferrari, you can use it at gear 1. But what I'm about to demonstrate is using AI at the gear 6 of the Ferrari, right? So once we have a good prompt, you layer on what we call a prompting strategy. A prompting strategy is a science that helps you to articulate your prompt in the best language possible so that you can use that language to talk to AI. And so we have a couple of prompting strategies, but I don't even want us to worry about this because there's a tool that we're using that is able to help us deliver a prompting strategy. And that's what I'm going to showcase next. It's called Fido. So this is Fido, F-E-E. If you have your phone, please take it out. FEEDOUGH.com. So Fido.com. Then AI-prompt-generator. So Fido, FEEDOUGH.com/AI-prompt-generator. Yeah. So Fido.com. Now at This is Digital, we're actually creating our own prompting kit, which we will share with everybody once that is out. For now, this one has been developed by a really smart Indian, and it helps us to be able to deliver a super prompt. So this is Fido.com. Did I tell you that I had a really nice conversation with a lady called Jackie yesterday? And are we together, by the way? We're there? Okay, great. So out of this conversation, Jackie asked me a question, and I said, this question, I'm going to answer it practically. So this is the structure of a good prompt, which I'm now just going to put here. And we agreed with Jackie, act as a top finance and AI strategist and conduct for me deep research. So that is role. You've seen that is role. We're telling AI what to act as, yeah? Now, task. Conduct for me deep research on what area of a financial institution I can deploy AI to gain maximum value and strong business case. Highlight some of the viable AI use cases that have gained maximum impact. So this is for Cooperative Bank, and our website is there. Make this a 5-page document. So you've seen role, task, context, and format. Yeah. So even as later today, if there's that thing that you want AI to help you brainstorm on, start the journey on Fido, give it role, task, like that. Yeah. Context, feedback. Now, in here, there are many prompting strategies, what I had shown you earlier. I'm going to come and select reasoning prompt. Reasoning, yeah, because I want it to conduct deep research, and then I'm going to click on generate. Okay, it's brought in an error. Let me refresh the page. So reasoning prompt, but even if you use standard prompt, it's still pretty decent. And there is our super prompt. Are we seeing the super prompt at the bottom? So this is what Fido has given me. I require a comprehensive research report on the optimal areas within a financial institution, specifically cooperative bank, where AI can be deployed to maximize value and create a strong business case. The report should include the following sections: executive summary, analysis of AI trends in the financial sector, identification of key areas for implementation, detailed description of viable. Are we seeing how our prompt has transformed to become this huge thing? And that is the power of Fido, yeah? It's a prompt generator. And it goes on, conclusion, summarizing the findings, the next steps, ensure the report is based on recent data, etc. And that is what I'm going to copy. And now this becomes the new way you talk to AI. Remember we said prompting is a new superpower? Fido is your new tool to get you there. So you simply put in a good prompt. Prompting strategy or framework is over there. You can select standard or reasoning, and then it generates and you get a super prompt. So please, from today, let us prompt like this, because the results you get out of this are out of this world. Are we together? This part is the most important part, actually. So what you get out of this is really important. So I just want to make sure we are together. Now, I will copy this because there's a copy button at the bottom, and now this is what I take into Claude. Yeah. Remember we said for serious work, Claude is our friend. Yeah. So I'm going to put that prompt into Claude. At the bottom over here, I'm on paid Claude. I'm going to click on research, and then I'm going to submit. Yeah. And just like that, I will have answered Jackie's question. Yeah. So let's see what comes out of this. So from today, please become a super prompter. And it's so easy. You just need to know, what question do I want AI to help me brainstorm on? And that's it. So give it role, task, context, format. Are we together? Fantastic. So now Claude has gone to work, yeah? So as Claude is working, I'm going to come back to our notes. Oh, Claude sometimes will ask you questions. So which cooperative bank market should the case study and regulatory framing center on? Do we select Kenya or Europe? Kenya, okay, good. And then what scale of institution should the recommendations assume? Large, tier one, mid-sized, regional, good. And then now Claude has gone to work. So if you have a challenge within your organization, so over here we normally say confirm. So if you have like a challenge or something that you need to brainstorm on, or even as a board member or a senior leader, there's that thing you've just been wondering, how do I do this? You come, you create your super prompt, you put it on Claude, and what is happening here is that it's like you've sent out 500 research assistants or partners to go collect this information for you and bring it to you. That is simply what has happened. Now, how have we put in Jackie's experience? She asked the question, right? And that's one of the ways that you bring in your experience and you bring in your critical thinking. So now Claude is working. As Claude is working, let's discuss a few more things, yeah? So what are some of the points to remember when you're prompting? You need to be very clear and specific, yeah? So that's extremely important, yeah? So what do we want it to do? We want it to conduct this research on this and the other. So you need to be clear and specific. You need to use direct language. We need to provide context. So for example, for context there, I've put in the cooperative bank website. You need to define the format. We've said we want a 5-page document. If you have examples, you can include examples, and then avoid overloading. Overloading is what causes hallucination. So for example, we've said give us a strategy on how you can be able to use AI in the finance banking sector. Overloading is this. Also write for me a LinkedIn article, yeah? Also write for me a script that I can use for Instagram. That's overloading. When you overload AI, it starts hallucinating. Why? Because AI has been created to always give you an answer. So only do one task each. And then, of course, now you can test and refine. Yeah. So best practices for using AI tools: avoid entering confidential information, double check critical outputs. You're going to do that practically. Disclose AI involvement where necessary. Use very strict access controls. So the rules of social media remain to be the same rules here. Always change your passwords. How many times? We're changing our passwords after 90 days, exactly. So even for your Gemini and Cloud account, do that. Train AI on your voice and tone, refine your prompt engineering skills, and now Fido is the one to do that. Use private or enterprise versions where possible, and always watch for biases and inaccuracies, especially how our continent is represented, yeah? So if you go there and you say, create for me an image of children playing in Africa, and it brings only the children who don't have clothes, they look sick, they look like they've not had a meal in like a while. By the way, you should see me, yeah, fighting for our continent. This is not a proper representation of my continent. Our continent is also full of children who have proper nutrition and what, so you have to do accurate representation. Why is it that when I ask you to create an image of children in Europe, you create children in playing fields? Even in Africa, we have playing fields, and then I attach examples. Like we have to always give the models feedback, yeah? Then, now I want us to talk about AI in the boardroom. But before we do that, I want to peep here and see what Claude is doing. Claude has so far gone into 27 sources, yeah? So Claude is working, yeah? We're seeing Claude is working to help answer our question. So as that is happening, now let's discuss what happens in the boardroom, yeah? Now, AI is shaping the work that we do very rapidly, and we must think about what does this mean from a governance point of view, from an ethical point of view, and from a regulation point of view. So I have put up this pyramid that shows us like where the conversation starts and where it ends. So at the bottom of our pyramid is regulation and compliance. Now, regulation is, what is the rule? Compliance is, are we following the rules? Yeah. So in our country, and I'll take us through that, in our country we have, imagine we actually have like 4 documents that govern how we use AI. So I'll take us through what those documents are. Then we have governance. In the organizations where we sit on boards or are executive leaders on, what is the structure that is driving this conversation? What tools have we allowed people to use? 10 are that one. People are using AI somewhere too, just behind the scene, yeah? But like, what does that mean if we're putting serious documents on AI models that are not safe? And then ethics, like where the law is silent, the board should not, and the executive leadership should not be silent, yeah? And then this brings us to trust and value. And so when we think about like the role of a board member or a senior executive in the organizations that we represent, we must always cascade between regulation and compliance, and then governance, ethics, and trust and value. So let me take us through each. Now, in terms of regulation, which is now the bottom of the pyramid, our country is pretty advanced. We actually launched our AI strategy last year, April. I'm sure we saw that. And so the Ministry of ICT launched that strategy. So that's one of the documents that we are currently using to guide our thinking, and also for us to know what is the government doing when it comes to AI adoption. Then in 2019, we had the Data Protection Act. And the Data Protection Act basically just ensures that as an individual, my data is safe. And if I buy a pizza at Pizza Inn, and then tomorrow I'm receiving marketing communication from a different company, I will know that Pizza Inn sold my data, and that's why now Safaricom is masking those numbers, yeah? So you have my 0724, and then at the end, 447, but you don't have the middle number, yeah? And we're actually starting to see the Office of Data Protection has issued like 357 determinations, 134 enforced notices, 20 penalty notices, and in January of this year alone, it issued 184 compensation orders. So we must always protect people's data. So we have those two. The next one, and I'm sure we saw Karen Nyamu table this in Parliament, it is the Artificial Intelligence Bill of 2026. So this one basically says, what kind of AI are we accepting into our country? Yeah? What kind of models are being created even in Kenya? Because there are some Kenyans that are creating AI models. And so what kind of enforcement therefore do we need to have? Yeah, so that bill is currently sitting at Senate. It will then move into public participation, and then it will move to the National Assembly, and then the president will assent it if he's happy with it. So that's the third one. The fourth document is Kenya's National AI Policy. The State Department for ICT is working on this one, and I think they've already circulated it for approval. Now, please, when we see these things going out, please let's participate, yeah? So that we're not caught up in a space where we're like, oh my gosh, now this thing came, we did not participate, and now we are being, that guardrail has already gone out. So that's important for us to note. So these are the 4 regulations or laws that are already in place. Now, outside of this, we have the EU AI Act, and as we know, we borrow heavily from the EU, but we also have the Artificial Intelligence AU policy. So if we're trying to look a little bit broader in terms of what else is out there, those are the other 2 that I would recommend we look at. So that is regulation, yeah? Now, the thing that I must say here is this. AI is still relatively, would be considered to be new. So AI practitioners were also telling the government, don't overregulate. Because when they overregulate, it stifles innovation. Yeah. And so when we're trying to do something, oh, that one has been stopped. Or you're trying to set up like an AI agent, oh, that one has been stopped, and I can only run my agent if I'm out of the country. So we're also calling the Kenyan government to also discover what's going on, the capabilities and all that, so they don't stifle all the innovation that can come out of AI. So level 3 is governance. Now, you cannot govern what you cannot see. So what do we do as senior leaders in the boards that we sit on? We have to be comfortable asking the hard questions, yeah? Now, we need to assign ownership explicitly. So most boards are embedding AI into existing risk audit strategy committees rather than building new structures, yeah? Now, for most organizations that I've consulted for, I go in and then I find AI is sitting where? Which department? In IT. In IT, okay. Where should AI sit? Okay, strategy. Now, let me take a few steps back and go back to the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report from 2025 to 2030. That says that AI will impact what percentage of careers? 90%. So let's bookmark that. Therefore, where should AI sit? Who said everywhere? Thank you. It should sit everywhere. Are you standing up so that, oh my gosh, you guys, my time. So I'll talk about that a bit. Now, we need to keep an AI register. There's this thing called shadow AI where people are using AI, but we don't know about it, yeah? So we need to have conversations about that. We need to set like a risk appetite early. We need to demand reporting, yeah? So even as you're having conversations on the boards that you sit with and the different places where you are a leader, you should ask a question about, can we get a report, like an updated report on how AI has been used this month? How has AI been used the following month, like that, yeah? And then you put it on the agenda. So always, in 2026, we cannot have a conversation at board level that AI is not mentioned like month after month. So we always need to have those conversations. And then leadership by design. One of the things we normally recommend, even when we consult for organizations in AI, is please give us an AI champion. The one person in marketing, the one person in audit, the one person in finance, the one person in HR, who we will be liaising with on a daily basis, yeah? And then that person, the AI champion, now cascades that information to the rest of the department, yeah? So that we are moving together and ensuring that AI is truly being adopted within the organization. Now the second level is ethics. So are we using AI responsibly? I've spoken about bias and fairness very well. Now, human being in the loop is very important, yeah? So there has to always be like a human being in the loop, and then we have to have data dignity, where all the data that is uploaded into the model has to be pre-approved. Like I can't start uploading financial statements from, say, my days in Safaricom into a large language model without approval, yeah? So that bit is also very important. Then now, at the very top of our pyramid, we have trust, yeah? trust is important. There's this thing we used to talk about called the wheel of trust, yeah? And so it has different things. So just wheel of trust, all those things. Now, as senior leaders and as we're making decisions for our organizations, the ones that we represent, we need to think about trust in three functions. So does the organization trust its vendors? Yeah. So someone has come to you with a proposal. Oh, you guys are using Microsoft. Okay, fantastic. I think you should use a combination of Microsoft and OpenAI. That's a common conversation. Yeah. In the organizations we consult with, I'm like, if you're using Microsoft, that's fine because you still have Microsoft Office, Outlook, Teams, all that. But consider onboarding Anthropic's Claude. Yeah. So then you have a combination of the two, or you have Microsoft and you consider onboarding Google, because the Google AI studio is just, it's buzzing, like it's really, really well done. So some of the things to consider. And the organization must trust its vendors, yeah? The second layer of trust is our customers must trust the organization. So if you have my data, how much of it are you putting on AI? So we need to, and this is some of the things that we need to be able to put at policy level. The third thing is the board must be trusted by the people within the organization. So when it comes to trust, we need to trust our vendors, our AI vendors. We also need to trust, the customer needs to trust us that we're making the right decisions for them. But also, as leaders, as senior leaders, we must make sure that the decisions we're making are not impacting the people behind us, yeah? How many of us have seen the Oracle story? How many people did Oracle let go of recently? I think like 2-3 weeks ago. And said we're replacing all these roles with AI. Yeah. Now, is that the right approach? It's not the right approach. So you first always must give human beings the opportunity to transition themselves before you can say, you're out and I'm replacing you with an AI. Yeah. So allow them to transition themselves, train them, yeah, so that we are making the right decisions. Yeah. And these are the decisions made at senior level, and then they cascade downwards. So questions we must be asking in terms of regulation and governance: where is AI already in use across the organization? Which of our AI systems would be classified as high risk, and which ones are moderate risk, which ones are okay? Yeah. There's a question I had yesterday about Grok, and I was like, hey, Grok is so similar to its owner, like it's like a mirror image of the owner. So before you use an AI tool, a quick tip is this: please go and ask Claude, is this tool safe for use? Is this tool ethical? Is this tool like that, yeah? So Claude normally gives you like a breakdown, because there are 90,000 AI tools in the world today. Doesn't mean you should use all of them. Go ask Claude, and then Claude will give you. Now, who owns AI oversight on this board? And then when did we last conduct data protection impact assessment? What AI risk are we not willing to take? Have we written that down? Then in terms of ethics, value, and accountability, the questions we should be asking as senior leaders is, can you explain any automated decision? Yeah. Where has a human being been genuinely reviewed in the process? Have our models been tested? Yeah. What is AI costing us? What is the ROI? How do we know? Yeah. If our AI system caused harm tomorrow, who is accountable for that? Yeah. And in our organization, one of the things we do, we can actually calculate for you ROI is because of onboarding like an AI model to help you do work. So we are able to work backwards in terms of efficiency is equals to time is equals to money saved. Questions we should be asking: do we have an AI strategy? If I'm sitting on a board, that's currently the first question I ask. Do you have an AI strategy in place? Yeah. And do you have an AI policy in place? Strategy defines the why and the what, and then policy defines the how and what are the guardrails for that. So things to think about when you're building an effective AI strategy: clear value alignment, robust data and infrastructure, human capital and talent, because AI does not exist in isolation. People must be trained to use it. And then proactive data governance and ethics, adaptability and scalability. Then AI strategy ownership. Now, who holds the strategy in the organization? We have an AI strategy. It's been created. You've probably called us or called somebody else to come and consult for you. Who owns that strategy? Okay, I'm hearing the board. Okay, who owns the strategy, the AI strategy? Yeah, but we need one person who's accountable. It has to be the CEO. The CEO has to own the AI strategy. Then what happens next? He's the ultimate owner so that he can also be the person who's making a decision on what tool we are paying for and financing that decision. KPMG the other day, I think, was the first organization to roll out using Claude at an enterprise level, so which was fantastic. And that decision was owned by the CEO and financed by the CEO. Yeah. So a lot of organizations are putting the AI final strategy in IT, but ultimately it should sit at the CEO level and then it cascades down. So what does everybody else do? Now we have a chief AI officer, so that person now can translate the strategy into technical roadmaps. Then now we have the IT person, yeah? And by the way, I'm not against IT people. I used to be an IT person. This is the person now who builds a scalable tech stack, cloud infrastructure, tells us where we're going to host all these things. They still have a very big role. Then we have the data owner, then we have legal, and then we have business unit heads that should be able to identify the use case and translate it. So for example, if I'm head of marketing in an organization, my question today should be, how do I empower my team to become AI-powered marketers? If I'm head of research, how do I empower my team to become AI-powered researchers? If I'm head of audit, how do I empower my team to become AI-powered auditors? Research, for example, that used to take 3 months is now taking one morning and we're done. Marketing strategies that used to take months to bring like a creative idea to life, yeah? And I've seen like maybe the example of Coca-Cola Global, it took them like a month to bring to life, yeah? And then they did, how many of us saw the AI ad that they did last year for their global campaign? All AI, all of it, yeah? So of course there are pros and cons there because Manze, interviewing for Father Christmas used to be a big thing. Now they have an AI generated Father Christmas. So there's a whole conversation going on around that. So we've seen how it cascades. AI strategy must be owned by the CEO, and then all these functions come in. And then in terms of execution, now it's in department. Yeah, we can't leave IT to make decisions on what does AI mean for us as researchers? What does AI mean for us as auditors? What does AI mean for us as HR practitioners? We must own that bit. Yeah. Then. Yeah, so compliance is the floor, trust is the ceiling. So that's how we look at it. And then we have, how do you build an AI-ready career? Now, when I was growing up, we're told so many vijana, okay, mwisho wa kusoma. By the way, we are age mates. I'm so happy. We read, let me tell you, I was in Nyali Primary, just somewhere in this coast. We read. We made it to the national schools. And then we made it to university, and then we got our first job. And then, so that entire process was an IQ process, right? Then you get to the job market, and then you're told, Grace, you need to have emotional intelligence. I'm like, me, I thought IQ was solving everything. Like, what is this now? I need to look at how I'm talking, and I need to, be courteous and what, and not strong. So anyway, emotional intelligence, I think HR practitioners will tell us, is extremely important. So EQ. So we moved from IQ, we moved into EQ. Now, what is the quotient that matters in 2026? There's one, the most important. What is it? AQ. Who has said AQ? Very good. And what does it stand for? Come again? Okay, so artificial quotient, yes, partly true. AQ, from my perspective, is adaptability quotient. Am I adaptable or do I have a fixed mindset? I need to be adaptable. That is, in the next couple of years, we must be adaptable. AQ. So IQ is fine. It still has its place. EQ is fantastic. It will always have its place because we're working with human beings, but we must be adaptable. Then talent development, please empower your teams. Come for our AI masterclasses or any other masterclass that someone is running. Please take those classes, go have those conversations. Process optimization, we've seen how AI is able to optimize processes for you. And then ethical use, we must use it ethically. Did we all see the image of our very, very senior most politician last year in a coffin? And I was like, manze, that person is brave. You know, they can trace it back to you. Because we've used what to log into ChatGPT, so we've used our email. They can trace it back. So let's use AI very responsibly, and then stay up to date. Go to Perplexity, paid Perplexity, and put in a task. Every Monday at 8 a.m., I want you to send me an update on all the news that is happening in artificial intelligence. I want you to categorize it into 3. Artificial intelligence in Kenya, send me the top news. Artificial intelligence in Africa, send me the top news. Artificial intelligence in the world, send me the top news. And then from there, you just relax. Every Monday at 8 a.m., it sends you updates, updates, updates. So you can say, send me updates on whatever field you're interested in, yeah? Then, so the future of AI in work and careers, we start with Gen AI, like Claude, and then you move into AI in decision making, and then you have to use it ethically, and then you adopt AI fast models. So we need to embrace AI responsibly to unlock its growth. It is not a silver bullet, yeah? But I'm telling you, it has come and it is going to make our work so much easier, yeah. So I want us to scan this QR code. And basically what we normally say is join the movement of AI-empowered organizations and individuals. If you scan this QR code, give us your details, and then we can be able to reach out to you. We do a discovery call. And for Women on Boards network only, we have a 10% discount on our AI masterclasses. So please give us your details, and then we will be able to come back to you. Before I wrap up, have we all scanned the QR code? I want us to go and peep on the work that Claude has been doing for there. How many minutes have I been standing here since I prompted? Yeah, so I want us to see that. And I'll share all of this. And it's done, yeah? So deploying AI in cooperative bank, okay, how to build the business case. So it's done the executive summary. It's done the current AI trends in the finance sector. It's done key areas for AI implementation, viable AI use cases with demonstrated impact. It's done benefits and challenges by use case. It talks about fraud. Oh my gosh, now I've entered a zone. Now, where do we bring in our critical thinking? Now, Jackie looks at this report and then she says, over here, we needed to add this. And so you come and prompt Claude over here. Change for me this, add for me this, edit this bit. This becomes her draft 0. It is not the final document. Remember the Deloitte example? This is draft 0. So if conducting deep research for an organization is step 1 to 10, what AI does, it moves us from step 1 to 7. 8, 9, and 10 has to be human. Yeah, so you bring in your experience, you bring in your critical thinking, and then you completely become unstoppable. So Jackie, I'll send this to you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.